everybody. So who is the most LP boosted champion of all time in League of Legends history? And why is it Riven? That is a question we are going to be answering today. Now recently, Riven received a buff. Now if we look at this buff, Riven mains said that this buff was not going to be a very large buff. Unfortunately, Riven mains are stupid. Where this is going to be a consistent thing throughout this entire video. Riven mains are stupid. They are not intelligent players. And they thought that this buff was not going to be very large. Now, I don't know what's going on with Riven mains. I don't know if they enjoy being abused by me. Do they get off on it? Do they like being wrong so that I can yell at them and show how stupid they are and how wrong they are? Is this a sexual thing for them, perhaps? I don't know. But after Riven was buffed, I have seen many of these arguments. Starting with the buff itself, we're going to be responding to all these stupid arguments that Riven mains have made over the years. And I'm going to talk about all this stupid stuff, okay? Now, one thing people ask is, why do you hate Riven so much? I hate Riven because Riven mains are effectively, in my opinion, stupid bullies. They have managed to meme their champion into being this super high skill cap champion that only the best players in all of League of Legends can play. Now, to be blunt, Riven's skill cap is currently massive. Yes, it's up there with champions like Yuumi, Briar. Wait a minute. Yes, actually, that's right. Riven is not a complicated champion. She has never been a complicated champion. She has a high skill floor and not a high skill cap. Much like champions like Yuumi, once you have the basics of the champion down, you pretty much are good to go. It's just you need to learn the basics of the champion. There's been a consistent flaw in Riven mains throughout the year that they've managed to meme the community into believing that their champion is a super high skill champion that only the greatest of the one tricks can ever perform well on, despite the stats and everything completely disagreeing with that consistently throughout all the years. Finally, after Riven got buffed, there are enough stats that I have compiled them all into this video in which we're going to show Riven mains are so goddamn stupid that they can't read numbers. I don't think they are literate at all. Do you need to be literate to be able to read numbers or just words? I don't know. Anyway, Riven mains probably can't do either. So let's first talk about the buff. Riven mains said that this buff wasn't going to be very large and wasn't going to do anything. This buff increased her AD ratios. The more AD you build, the more damage Riven does. Unfortunately, and for those of you who've watched me, you've already seen me go over this, so, you know, maybe sing a little song in your head as we waste some time here, right? Unfortunately, Riven mains memed that at 120 damage, this buff wasn't going to be very large. We can see I've got typical runes. These are for Aatrox, but there's no like trickery or anything. I'm not doing anything weird, okay? So basically Riven mains said that at 120 damage it wasn't going to be a very big deal. So this buff wasn't going to impact anything, right? Now again, I don't know. Do they get off on being so horribly wrong that I can just make fun of them for months? Do they truly believe that by disagreeing with me they could ever be correct? Because you will never be correct by disagreeing with me. You will only ever be correct by agreeing with me. Now what do I mean by this? Let's look into this for a second. 120 damage. 120 damage. That's where they did their math. Here's the problem with that. At level 5, my hotkeys on the test realm are broken. This is really weird. Okay, sorry, there's like a technical problem with the test realm right now. Or not test realm, the practice client. I can't teleport, so it's like weird. So basically by level 5 you already have 119 damage. By level 6 you already have 122 damage. By level 5, Riven already had enough damage with a pickaxe. So if she used her early game to bully people, got all the CS, backed for a pickaxe, Riven would already have enough damage to equal out to where they said it was only going to be 120 damage. At level 6, Riven already has more damage than people were mathing out in posting and saying the buff wasn't going to be very large, because at 120 damage it doesn't do that much. 120 damage is a Doran's Blade or a longsword and a pickaxe. This is not, and I repeat, not late into the game. Okay, now I can teleport. That's weird. In fact, if we look into it, we can see that with a Ravenous Hydra and a Black Cleaver, Riven is already at 212 damage. If I level up to, like, let's say level 11, where Riven would be, you know, maybe level 12, we can see 229 damage, nearly double the damage. By nearly double, once we put down this target dummy, we can see, it died to the fountain. We can see that actually, here, let's just spam my buttons here. So I have to be the best Riven player in the world to do this. You can see that we already have double the damage that we would have with this 120 damage. So these Riven mains, these absolute, I don't know what they are, just incredibly non-intelligent people, math this out with 120 damage, less than half the damage you would have at 2 items. So their argument that this buff wasn't going to be very large and, oh, it's not going to do anything and, oh, it barely did anything to the champion, it's stupid. It's moronic. It's just stupid. I want to skip forward real quick because I can answer this really quickly. Riven mains always say they're not just huge coomers who just coom over their champion and want their favorite waifu to be the most bestest pick ever, that they don't just ignore basic game logic, that they're not just moronic weeby dumbasses. They always say this. Now, I have given them the benefit of my doubt. I have, at the top of my toolbar, reddit.com Riven mains. Now, if they are not coomers, I should be able to go to this website and find discussion over how to play Riven, how to build Riven, what to do with Riven. So, of course, I click enter right now, and I find only the most intelligent people in all the known universe bringing up... Oh, well, no, never mind. Actually, they're huge. They're just huge coomers. In fact, they are such huge coomers that if you ever look into any of their threads, if you ever look into this, you'll just see, there we go, right here. You can just see the most, like coomerisk goddamn weeb shit ever. Okay? Now look. If you want to do whatever, I don't care. Look, if you want to coom over Riven, that's fine. You know, you do you stuff on your time. It doesn't impact me, right? It really doesn't. You wanna go jerk off to Riven picks, that's fine. Like, I don't care. It doesn't affect me, so do whatever makes you happy, right? The problem here is that you're using your coomertude to, like, beg Riot for buffs to your champion, which makes my game worse. Your coomerness is affecting your brain to the point where you're becoming such a pathetic moron, begging Riot for buffs to your favorite waifu, that now she's breaking the game again. So I beg you, coomers, shut up and go away. Just shut up and go away. Another topic I want to discuss here. People say Riven has bad matchups. How can Riven ever be good if her matchups are bad? Well, that's simple. See, her win rate is the average win rate. So this would include her bad matchups. We can see, even in Emerald Plus, she has a very high win rate, which, if she truly had bad matchups, her win rate would be bad. But, you might be saying to yourself, how do you know that's true? Because the number 1 pick champion, Aatrox, is countered by the number 2 pick champion, Yone. Aatrox has a negative win rate. Why? Because he keeps getting countered by his counter picks, because Aatrox's counter picks are bad. His bad matchups are bad. Riven does not, in fact, have too many bad matchups, or it would actually impact her win rate. On the other hand, we can see right in front of us another champion who is quite good. Aatrox is quite good right now, who has a lot of bad matchups, and his win rate is negative because of those bad matchups. Shocking. I know. That's how win rates work. Moreover, let's talk about this for a second. I keep hearing about, all you need to do is pick Poppy and Riven is useless. No. But, guys, what champion doesn't get counterpicked if they first pick? Can you name me a champion who doesn't have bad matchups, especially in top lane? Like, seriously, this entire argument has been so goddamn stupid. I'm literally, like, floored every time a Riven player brings this up. Like, this is an I gotcha moment. Like, no, but if you pick Poppy, wow. Like, dude, what champion doesn't lose when they're counterpicked? Again, if her bad matchups were so bad, then why is her win rate massive? In fact, if Riven automatically lost to her bad matchups while maintaining a 51.6% win rate only in Emerald, which, by the way, we'll get into this later because I've ran a lot of numbers here, okay? If she truly was doing so bad into these bad matchups yet maintained a positive win rate, that would mean whenever Riven wasn't counterpicked, she just automatically won the game and stomped her opponent into Narnia. Okay, so this entire line of thought has no merit, and literally all you need to do is use 2 brain cells, rub them together, and you'll understand why this is stupid. Now, let's go over this. Riven has a high win rate because of one tricks. Wow, the one tricks make her win rate go up is something that a complete moron would think, because once again, they never rub those 2 brain cells together. Now, I'm going to leave you guys with this thought. Should one trick champions have a higher win rate? Think about it. Write it down in a comment, okay? Give me your opinion on this. Should a champion who is primarily one tricked have a higher win rate? No. Because if you one trick them and they had a positive win rate, that would mean the champion was so broken that everyone playing the champion would just go positive and always climb. If a champion only is played by one tricks, it would have a 50% win rate, because they would all get to what rank they would deserve to be and then just sit there and not win or lose more than 50%. In fact, we can see this. How can we see this? Well, I drew a graph. In this graph, I combined Riven with a bunch of one-trick champions. Yone, Azir, Katarina, Lee Sin, Irelia, Yasuo, LeBlanc, Gangplank, and Akali. Now, as we can see in this graph, the vast majority of one-trick champions seem to sit between the 48% and 51% win rate mark. It's about here, okay? In other words, your average one-trick champion is about a 49 to 50% win rate at the high ranks. At the low ranks, your average one-trick champion actually sits below a 50% win rate. There's only one champion in the entire game who's a one-trick who sits at higher than 50% win rate. Now you can see I've categorized these. We have all ranks, Platinum Plus, Emerald Plus, Diamond Plus, and Masters Plus. I'll explain this again for people who don't understand it. All ranks primarily is the low ranks, because there are, let's say hypothetically, 200,000 games played at bronze, but only 2,000 games played at masters. So even though it includes bronze and masters, the masters games are so insignificant that this is basically, all ranks basically just means bronze, okay? Now what we see here is 2 statistical anomalies. The first is Azir down here. The second is Riven up here. Now, whereas most one-trick champions either don't really move up or down in win rate or move up a little bit, Riven starts with a massive win rate, then just keeps getting higher and higher and higher in the win rate. Other champions do not even come close to Riven. The only champion who does come close to Riven appears to be, who is that? Irelia. And then Irelia cannot climb her win rate nearly as high as Riven. Now, here's the problem, and I'll go over this in the future. If Riven was truly a one-trick champion, her win rate would be about 50%. U.GG, the website I use, averages the win rates per rank. Now, yes, on average, if you're in Masters Plus, your win rate should be 52, 53, 54%, somewhere around there, right? Because in order to climb to that rank, you would need a positive win rate. U.GG normalizes those numbers. So, basically, if you're at bronze, you typically have a negative win rate. Now, what they do is they average these again, so that bronze will be 50% win rate and Masters Plus will also be 50% win rate. It's a really good website like that, okay? So the problem is, if a champion has a positive win rate and is played by one tricks, that means that that champion is boosting all the people who pick them. An example of a champion with a positive win rate who is not being LP boosted would be something like Malphite, because he's not being one-tricked, because he's just being used to counter-pick and then doing well in those counter-pick matchups. Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? Okay, so this argument, this mental deficity, I'm going to call it that Riven is a high win rate because of one tricks makes no sense when you compare it to other one trick champions. I've compiled as many champions as I thought was relevant, solo lane one tricks. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 of them in this list, all for either mid lane or top lane. Majority for top lane, and I cannot find a single other champion who follows this completely bizarre win rate trend like Riven. To be blunt, to keep Riven more fair, her win rate would need to drop by 2%. In other words, Riot would need to nerf Riven harder than they buffed her to get her win rate curve to be more similar and more in line with the other actual one-trick champions. Again, the only champion here who is another anomaly is Azir, because Azir is way too complicated to play consistently. That's just been true. If Azir wants to do his mega escape move, he needs to move his mouse cursor W, move his mouse cursor E, move his mouse cursor Q, and he has to do all these actions, and it's very easy to screw this up, okay? Riven is not as complicated as Azir. Azir is too complicated, in fact. He's way too complicated. It's nonsensical how complicated he is, okay? But the problem is, Riven is not sitting statistically. She just is not in line with other one-tricks, okay? This is bullshit. Your champion doesn't have a high win rate because of one tricks. Your champion has a high win rate because they're overpowered, because they're broken. Riven buffs are just being used by one tricks. I heard this statement a lot. Oh, it's just the one tricks. The one tricks are using her buffs and they're doing really good with her, is what a moron who didn't look at the numbers would say. Now I compiled the numbers on this one. I looked at the last 5 patches, and here's her win rate by patch and her pick rate by patch. The problem here that you might be misunderstanding, there are currently significantly more people playing Riven by almost double, not quite double, but like over 1.5 more people. There's 50% more people now playing Riven after these buffs. Her win rate has skyrocketed. Despite all these people picking up Riven, her win rate has skyrocketed. Now, what does that mean? Hear me out for a second. There is another champion whose pick rate skyrocketed following a lot of people playing them. Can you find them in this list? It's Azir. A lot of people started to play Azir after Worlds. Unfortunately, Azir is a complicated champion. His win rate plummeted into the ground. In fact, a champion who was already having a sketchy win rate after Worlds went from 47. So here we have 47, 47, 47, World start, 46, 45. Everyone started to pick up and play Azir. You can see that in his pick rate, okay? His pick rate goes from a 3% to a solid 5%, nearly double. Again, the same incline as Riven. And his win rate plummeted because people don't know how to play him. Riven, on the other hand, her win rate went up considerably. Considerably went up, in fact. The problem here that Riven mains don't want to admit, was her win rate slightly going down? Was her pick rate slightly going down? Yes, because Riven is not a fun champion. Your average player doesn't enjoy Riven. They do enjoy winning, though. They do enjoy winning, and they do enjoy that free LP. They enjoy that smell of unearned ranking. And Riven is currently an LP booster. She has always been an LP booster. If Riven is falling out of the meta, it's because people can pick up other champions that are more fun and more rewarding to play. I highly suspect most Riven mains were moving on to Yone, because why play an annoying champion with a bunch of outdated mechanics when you could play a champion who's completely broken and doesn't have really annoying mechanics that keep them down? So no. Unfortunately, it was not just the Riven buffs being used by one tricks. In fact, hilariously, her win rate should be even higher. No, I shit you not. Her win rate should be even higher had people not picked her up. If her if her pick rate had stayed the same, if her pick rate had stayed around this 4.5% area, then her win rate would have gone even higher, because you wouldn't have all these random people picking up the champion. But that's what happened. So many people have picked up Riven that she is within 100 games of knocking Garen out of the top 5 spot. That's right. Riven is about to be picked more than Garen in Emerald. Now, I want to talk about that for a second. Riven can only be played by the best players. Only the best players in all the world can play Riven, is something that a moron continues to say. In fact, it is not true. It has never been true. Let's talk about this for a second. If we look at Garen and Riven's pick rate and win rate, we can see that Riven about equals out to Garen's win rate at about platinum. Not even emerald anymore. Platinum. That's not that high rank anymore. Due to the inclusion of emerald, platinum is not that high rank anymore. The current high platinum is the old very low platinum high gold, okay? So let's just put it this way, okay? Your old gold players are now able to play Riven better than they can play Garen. That's right. By emerald, Riven overtakes Garen's win rate. That's right, chat. That's right, everybody. Okay? By emerald, Riven is picked and played more than Garen. As of right now, she's within 100 games, but with the current trend, once we update, it last updated 16 hours ago. Once this updates, Riven will have a higher pick rate than Garen. She is within 100 games. I was originally going to wait to do this video until she surpassed him, but I got bored, and I just decided to do the video anyway, because I'm just bored. I just didn't want to wait anymore. So this argument that Riven can only be played by the best players, unless the very best players in all the world are in Diamond, and that's it, the very best players ever are playing Riven, I don't really understand that. It's just not true. It has no statistical relevancy. It is not true. It is simply not true. None of these stats that I've compiled here, none of this shows that Riven is a high skill champion. No more than Yumi, no more than Briar. She just has a high skill floor, and that makes her difficult. But hilariously, her skill floor is still reachable for your average player. Your average player can now do good enough. In fact, if we look at it, once again, in fact, I don't even show here, she's the only supposed one-trick champion who goes positive in bronze. Your average bronze player can now go positive with Riven. That's right, a bronzy who does not really even know how to play the game can now do good enough with Riven to start climbing. Congratulations, you guys are playing the hardest champion in all time. Just as a serious question, how do you guys possibly look at this graph? How do you possibly look at this graph and not think to yourself, oh boy, maybe I am playing an LP boosted champion? Like what goes on in your head when you see this graph? Riven mains. If you've made it this far in the video, I legitimately, are you just entering like supreme cognitive dissonance? Are you just gonna deny that this is reality? Because like I just tracked all the stats. You can see all the stats right here. Here's Diamond plus 52.33. Here's I put it in here right here. Riven Diamond plus 52.33. I just used the stats, okay? I made this graph off the stats that are publicly available, okay? This is the correct graph. Riven is completely in her own world when it comes to supposed one-trick high-skill champions. If she was actually a difficult champion, she would be down here with Azir. If she was actually hard to play or anything, she would probably be down here with LeBlanc at the 48... LeBlanc is 47% win rate at all ranks, yet Riven is up here. How do you mentally explain the difference here? How do you mentally justify the fact that it is easier to pick up and play Riven than even the more difficult champions like any of these? They're all one-trick champions, okay? They're all one-trick champions. She's significantly easier than Yone, Azir, Katarina, Lee Sin, Irelia, Yasuo, LeBlanc, Katarina, and Akali. Okay? The last thing I want to talk about here, is Riven is an interesting character. No, she's not. No, actually, I'm gonna blow your guys' brain here. Riven is not an interesting character, even slightly. In fact, with her new story revamps, Riven is a completely uninteresting character. I've read this story, and she did get a retcon. I'm going to insult your character's lore now, and you're going to listen to me because you like it. For some reason, this gets you off, okay? Riven was changed because she is a waifu character who can do no wrong. The original Riven story was that she was a supreme follower of the fascist Noxus, okay? Back when Noxus was just, a stand-in for the Nazis. Not a complete stand-in, but, they were there. They were the bad, evil guys. Riven completely believed in them and fought with them and went to Ionia. In Ionia, she killed Yasuo's master in cold blood. She killed a lot of people. It was only after the Noxus gas attacks were killing Ionians that she rebelled against Noxus. Not because she was good, not because she was hit by the gas attacks herself, but because she realized that Noxus was not playing fair. They were using gas attacks. They were doing something that was unethical. They weren't killing people in cold blood. You didn't have to be strong or weak to die or win in a gas attack. That's all you had to do. Her faith in Noxus as a strength-based institution faltered because gas attacks were unfair. It wasn't showing the strength of Noxus. It was just killing people from very far away. And she kind of had her mind broken, and she snapped and she realized, oh my god, wait, what have I been doing? I've pledged myself to this institution which doesn't even believe in strength makes right. That's an interesting character because she's effectively a bad guy who had her mind broken and reevaluated her world. Her entire world was broken. Her belief system was shattered, okay? The institution that she was fighting and killing for wasn't actually what she thought it was. Okay, she had killed Yasuo's master. Yasuo then was blamed for it because she used a wind blade and Yasuo had a wind blade. Yasuo had to then kill Yone, so Yasuo became exiled. Yasuo is now being blamed for the murder of his brother, which he did technically do, but it wasn't self-defense. He's being blamed for the murder of his teacher, and he's trying to track down and kill Riven. Riven, who has reached a point where she's broken as a person, what is broken can be reforged, and is trying to find forgiveness and to reshape her worldview into a more healthy way. But now Yasuo wants to kill Riven as she's on the path of redemption. Now, do you understand how this is a more interesting story? What is her current story? Well, Riven, the waifu who did absolutely nothing wrong and literally never killed anyone, this is the actual story. You can actually go read this. Riven literally didn't kill anyone, ever. Also, then Noxus hit her with a gas attack, and then she forsook Noxus and realized that they were completely bad after never killing anyone. Yes, in her new story, I want to really emphasize how stupid, how uninteresting this character is. Riven in her news story did not kill anyone, did not do anything wrong, has nothing to atone for, and did nothing wrong ever. I really need to double down. Riven, the new written character, did nothing wrong ever. No, but you're saying she killed Yasuo's master. No, actually, they retconned that too. Basically, she brought her sword to Yasuo's master and was like, can you please break my sword? And then he broke the sword and it shattered and he died from that. And Riven literally did nothing wrong. It didn't kill his master. Then Yone went and forgave Yasuo and said, I forgive you for killing me. It's cool though. I got cool demon powers now. So this story, which went from this very interesting tale, which had a bunch of different characters, either forgivable or unforgivable, depending on how you look at it, people who did legitimately terrible things, who didn't even turn away from an evil institution. Riven didn't even turn away from it because she became a good person. She originally turned away from it because they weren't the strength, the might makes right institution that she thought it was. It was only later that she started to reconsider her entire worldview, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, wow, that's an interesting character. We got a story. Now her character sucks. She's just waifu McDoes nothing wrong. What does she have to what exactly can anyone name a single thing that she even has to be sorry for? What, that she brought her sword to Yasuo's master and he was too stupid and he accidentally got a sword? He got a sword shard in his chest and he died? Why is that her fault? She didn't do that. She didn't kill anyone. She literally did nothing wrong in the new story. She joined the army, although I think she was even conscripted at that point. So she literally got written to do nothing wrong. Your character is stupid and boring and uninteresting. Anything interesting about this character was taken away so that you could make her your perfect fucking waifu and you could just make porn about her. In other words, Riven mains are vanilla. They are white bread. They are unspiced anything. They're not even black coffee. That would be too bitter, okay? They're just water. They're nothing. They're water. They're completely uninteresting people. You're stupid. Your champion is LP boosted. Their story sucks. Okay? That's this video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye, Riven mains.